Hello, I'm Dr. Nita Knight Coonley, and my students call me Dr. K, and I'm here with my stellar co-instructor, Mr. Pierre Durant.
Hi, everyone.
And we're here to talk with you guys about professional counseling organizations. Um, I've served as a college counselor, a substance abuse treatment facility counselor, a counselor educator, a private practice counselor. Pierre has served in a number of counseling roles as well. Currently, a high school counselor. What other roles have you served in, Pierre?
Being at my first gig was a high school counselor. Um, I did my practicum at an elementary school, and then two of my internship placements were at the middle school level and then the high school level. So I've gotten to experience at all three levels in terms of school counseling. And then now I've been a high school counselor for 5 years now.
5 years.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Um, and then, of course, we'll get into some of the professional organizations and affiliations as well. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you can kind of get a sense of what our background is, and as a school counselor and a college counselor and counselor educator, um, as Pierre mentioned, we are affiliated with different professional organizations, and it's actually kind of fun to get together with a whole bunch of people in the same field and talk shop. And so we wanted to talk with you a little bit about some of the professional organizations that we have found helpful, that we've been a part of, that we've engaged in. So Pierre mentioned his work as a school counselor, and I wanted to say there's an organization called ASCA. I think it stands for, what is it, American School Counselors Association?
That's it. You got it.
And ASCA, I always have a special place in my heart for them because my very first group curriculum that I wrote when I worked as a college counselor was um, on mastering test anxiety, and it was actually originally mastering math anxiety,
Mm,
but they had us rewrite it for a broader group or revise it, so it was mastering test anxiety. Although there's
that's
still a
awesome.
few modules, thank you, on math anxiety. So I'll have to give you a copy in case you've got some students that have test
Oh,
anxiety.
yeah. On that, yeah, that's definitely something we see a lot in the schools. Not just test anxiety, test anxiety, but also just anxiety in general, and we're seeing that a lot more now.
Right,
And so
especially with
it
COVID.
exactly, and so it is good to know, um, that as far as managing test anxiety that we have, those supports out there, because that's huge, and
Right.
especially now that we have the virtual component, it's going to be interesting to see how test
Mm,
anxiety plays out in the virtual environment.
yes, yes. We had some supervisees that used the curriculum to run the math anxiety groups at another university,
Hmm.
where they had a math lab. They called it the Math Emporium. And it was just a huge room where students would go, and um, they would all be at a different level, and they were doing their math homework on a computer, and then they would use a Dixie cup to put upside down if they had
Oh
a
yeah.
question, and the tutor or the instructor that was on duty would come over and answer it. But the phenomenon they found was that then students had not only math anxiety and test anxiety, but
Hmm.
also computer anxiety.
Lord.
And then, with COVID, so anxiety is mounting, but
Hmm.
that curriculum, all the proceeds go to the American School Counselor Association, so we don't get any royalties or anything from that. But it's a great resource, and it's a great organization to help equip
Hmm.
school counselors. So that's what I appreciate about ASCA is
Awesome.
they have those resources there for school counselors. They allow them to be reproducible.
Hmm.
So like it would be possible to make copies, of that. So you could
Hmm.
kind of hand out agendas, hand out activities,
Hmm.
that sort of thing.
Awesome.
So that's ASCA. What's another organization that you like?
Well, that's an awesome handoff, Dr. K. And I'd like to talk a little bit about VCA, which is the Virginia Counselors Association.
Yeah,
And so this academic year, I have the pleasure of serving as the social media chair for VCA.
very
And
exciting.
we have our annual convention happening for the first time virtually through the website hoover.com. Um, that'll be from November 12th through November 14th. So that's
November
going to,
12th through November 14th.
yes, so
Mark
mark
those
your
dates on the
calendars.
calendar.
Yes, mark your calendars for that. That's coming up. Students get a discount. So if you all do want to, attend some sessions, get 19 of those professional development credit hours. This going to be great for you. Um, and so, my role with VCA in the past, I've been able to present, and so as a presenter, myself and a colleague was able to present on supporting first generation college students,
Hmm.
um, and you know from a multicultural lens. So we were able to present on that. But then also, as an officer this year, I'm able to really help with promoting the events. I'm really honoring some of the folks who are participating in this year's convention, as well as just bringing excitement to the events that we have going on, networking, just increasing engagement. And one of the big initiatives of VCA for this year is the social justice component. So we know that there's a lot going on in the world in regards to racial unrest and social tensions. Um, and so one of the big goals for this year is to bring light to some of these issues, to educate folks, and give people some tools on how they can support
Yes.
counselors as well as their clients in the field on how they can really support folks during this time. So if that is something that kind of excites you, this year's convention through VCA is going to be an awesome way to get involved, to get empowered, to get
Hmm.
energized and engaged. And then just to collaborate with other professionals in the field, whether
Yes. Great
you're a
networking
community,
opportunity.
yeah, whether you're a community mental health counselor, LPC, or a school counselor, you're going to rub shoulders with a lot of just great minds and professionals in the field. And then we have Dr. Sam Gladding, who's going to be the keynote speaker. So we've got highlights all across the board in terms of what VCA is doing this year. So that's
Yeah.
just a couple things right there.
Yeah, I'm excited about the conference that's coming up in November. It'll be my first time attending a VCA conference online, I guess, for all of us, right? First
Oh
time
yeah,
online.
yeah.
I've attended the VCA conference and participated as a presenter as well the past several years. Dr. Lisa Compton and I just recorded our presentation not too long
Awesome.
ago on looking at, I think the name of the session is From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the Counseling Room.
Mm,
And she had just released a book, Preparing Counselors for Trauma Work. And my book, The Mr. Rogers Effect, had come out. So we joined forces to look at the common ground between trauma work and all that attachment security safe base that Mr. Rogers offered,
mm-hmm.
and put that presentation together. Also, one thing I've been appreciated about BCA is that Pierre, as he mentioned, has been running the social media,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's been putting out, keeping us informed about things that are coming up. He mentioned the social justice focus and some other speakers and things that are going on. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to share with them what the social media handle is for VCA?
Yes. So for Twitter, it's going to be at VC at VA counselors. Actually, I'm going to grab my phone to make sure I don't mess up these names.
And while he's
Um,
looking that up, I'll just fill in the time for a moment.
oh yeah.
So um, I don't do Twitter, but on Instagram, I also have an Instagram handle. It's the.empathetic.counselor, or you can look up Anita Coonley, Kuhnley, on Instagram. One of our students has asked us to post some mental health tips, so we're going to start to do that a little more. Also, have a recording of Pierre reading an excellent poem there in our group counseling class. So feel free to check that out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So for Instagram and Twitter, it's going to be at VA counselors, and then for the Facebook group, if you want to go ahead and join that, we've got hundreds of counselors within that group. That's just going to be the Virginia Counselors Association. And so you'll find that group on Facebook to follow. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are active on all three platforms. We've got trivia questions kind of leading up to the convention. So, yeah, it is taking off this year. We're excited. We're excited about what's going to happen. Yeah.
Very exciting. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. So another organization, especially as Christ followers, because we're looking at counseling from a Christian worldview. I really appreciate AACC. That's the American Association of Christian Counselors,
Mm.
and they boast over 50,000 members. So one of the largest counseling organizations in the world, and they have the World Conference every other year, and it's typically in Nashville, Tennessee. I think for the first time in 2021, they're scheduling it for Florida. So that's exciting. My husband, Dr. John Coomley, and I typically present at a pre conference workshop. He's a psychiatrist, so we kind of give the psychiatry and counseling perspective. We've been looking at topics on emotional intelligence and working with kids that struggle with rage and oppositional defiant disorder, and some other related topics. So I really appreciate AACC partially because we get to engage with so many Christian counselors from all over the world. Um, so many of our colleagues and counselor educators at Regent University and other Christian universities. Um, and we get to see our students. I get to see a lot of my former students there at the conference. It's a great place to get your CEUs,
Mm-hmm.
and that the same would be true for VCA or ASCA or other conferences. A lot of them are registered with NBCC, the National Board of Certified Counselors,
Mm-hmm.
and they can offer continuing education units,
Mm-hmm.
and we can use those units as an LPC. We have to continue to earn continuing education units in order to keep our licenses active, and so that is a wonderful way to continue to earn educational credits. Um, so let's see, we talked about VCA, ASCA, AACC.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I want to make sure and mention before we sign off here is ACA.
That's the big one.
That is a big one. Yes. American Counseling Association. And I appreciate what Pierre said about that's the big one because it's like the umbrella organization. There's so
Mhm.
many, it's the umbrella over VCA, right?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
So VCA is the state group underneath ACA.
Mhm.
Another one of my favorites, Association for Creativity in Counseling, is a division of ACA as well. Um, Also, ACA has a blog that they offer. They have free continuing education units. I think once a month you can get a free CE if you're a member. Most all these organizations offer discounts on continuing education units.
Mhm.
They actually just featured the blog on Mr. Rogers on their main page and sent it out in the Counseling Insider to all their members. I was very excited about that. Um, but yeah, ACA is another great organization to be a part of. Any others that you want to mention?
I think we hit the big ones. Yeah. So now we want to hear from you all. What professional counseling organizations are you all interested in being a part of? And I know some of you all covered that within your professional development packs. Um, but yeah, so share that with us. I hope
Yeah,
that you
leave a
all got
note
a
in the
lot.
comments.
Oh yeah, I hope that you all got a lot from this video. We look forward to more discussion on your professional counseling organizations.
Yes, indeed. And may the Lord bless and keep you. And until next time, contemplate these concepts.